All right. Hey, everybody. Glad y'all to join me back here. It is now 8:03. So hopefully you all are, let me make sure I got my live on here. Hopefully you all are here and ready to go. Thank you all for joining me for part two of how to invest in Easy Lease. All right. For those of you that joined me earlier on part one, still says it's waiting. I'm live, but it says I'm waiting. I'm not sure what's going on, but anyway, I am live. But it's not showing up on my screen here that I am live. Now it's showing me some type of commercial. So let's hope that the commercial will kind of get through it and whatnot. Let's skip the commercial. All right, there it is. I am live. All right. So I guess it was showing that commercial first. But anyway, thank you all for joining me. For those of you that were here before, we kind of went over how the investment process goes and what you can invest in that will make you wealthy in your lifetime. And we also went over the things that if you invest in, regular type companies that are already established, you really can't make any money. Not for you, but you'll make money for your heirs and and people like that. But you're not going to make any money for you in your lifetime if you're investing in stable companies like an Amazon or Uber or a company that's already up and the stock is already public. As I mentioned before, I'm going to be presenting to you all over the next few weeks different startup ventures and ideas that I've come up with. A lot of these things I'm going to be presenting, I already have websites built so I can show you all how they would work and everything. But all of these are going to be in the pre-seed funding stage. This is before they become a company. This is the only time the SEC would allow everyday ordinary people to take part in the creation of a company as far as putting their money into it and becoming one of the principal shareholders or one of the owners of the company. This is the best time. Matter of fact, this is the only time that most of you, everyday ordinary people, will have a chance to be a part of a company that could make them multimillionaires or even a billionaire in their lifetime. If you all want to go back and watch part one, I've got it. I'll have it at the end of this video. At the end of this live, you'll be able to go to our channel at the RBBS Leadership Learning Center and watch part one, where I kind of walk through that and explain that to you. But tonight, let me go ahead and start sharing my screen. Tonight, we're here to talk about, I told you all I will come back at 8 and I will present to you all the RBBS LLC Easy Lease. Okay, let me go ahead and pull this up for you. All right, this is Easy Lease. Okay, this is actually an idea that I came up with. I came up with this business model about 3 years ago. I actually came up with it about 3 years ago. But like any business model, I mean, you really need money behind it. I came up with it about 3 years ago. I kind of did a pre-launch of it just to see what of enthusiasm or what type of interest. I was basically just testing the market about 3 years ago when I put this out, and we got some great responses. I mean, because look, why do owner-operators, why do truck drivers want to enter into a lease program or an owner-op program? The main reason is they want independence. They want the freedom to run where they want to go, when they want to go, and to run the loads they want to run and things like that. And most important, they want to make more money. They want to make more money. Okay. So, and when you're working for a company, that's all well and good. You're under that umbrella, of a company, and you don't really have a whole bunch of responsibility, but you got to go where they tell you to go. I mean, you got to go when they tell you to go, where they tell you to go, and you got to stay out as long as they tell you to stay out. You can barely get home and things like that. Other things that I found that a lot of people ask questions about with lease programs, because I've been looking at I've researched over 128 lease programs over the last 2 years. I've done research on 128 lease programs, and the same 3 questions keep coming up. Okay, the same 3 major concerns keep coming up when it comes to people who are leasing trucks, or people who want to lease trucks, or people who are considering leasing a truck. The number one concern or the number one question that I've always seen on all of these lease program ads, and I go straight to the comments and all the questions. And one of the biggest questions, first of all, is the split. How much is the split? Okay, how much do I take? Well, in just about 99% of all lease programs that I've seen, I haven't seen any program like ours, but in every lease program that I research, the take is going to be somewhere between 70-30, 80-20, or 90-10, or I've seen some that go as high as 95%, but they have all these other fees that go along with it, all these hidden fees. That's another thing. Another question is, how much are the fees, the hidden fees, other than the lease payment? What are the other fees? Okay, and some of them have holdback for like 10 weeks. They have a 10% holdback, plus you only getting an 80%. The line haul, so they taking out 20%. Then they're doing a 10 to a 15% holdback for 10 weeks because they give you some ungodly lease payment, saying that, okay, yeah, your lease payment is only $5.99 per week, when everyone knows that it's going to be higher than that. But they do that just to get people to draw them in. But then they tell you have a holdback for 10 weeks of 10% of your runs. So they're really taking 30% of your load fees to pay for that low lease payment that you got, because your real lease payment, with all your holdbacks and all your fees you got to pay for, your maintenance fees, your insurance, and all that type of stuff you got to pay, but all the stuff that you're paying, you're really paying close to $300 to $3,300 per week. This is why when those guys run and they're making $7,500 on average, they're running 3,000 miles, 3,750 miles at the average, $1.50 to $2.50 per mile, whatever the case may be, and they're running that 3,750 miles. Okay, so when they're doing all that, when they get their settlement check, they're seeing $1,200, $500, $600. Some of them are seeing a negative because of all of the hidden fees. And because the average truck driver, if they're running on average 550 miles, per run, and if they're doing that 550 miles, I was driving 650 miles, but if the average truck driver is running 550 miles per day, which you can do that, 550 miles per day, that times, let's say, 6 days a week. Most people don't run on weekends. That's 3,300 miles. Okay, but that's 3,300 miles, and if they're averaging, times, let's say $2.25 a mile, that's $74.25. That's about average for the trucker when they're running. That's their pay before all of their takeout. If you're an owner-operator, a lease owner-operator, whatever the case may be, that is about average, $74.25. But when you got all these hidden fees from these lease companies, the holdback, your LED fees, your insurance, they're taking out for you. And you got to pay your fuel out of that. If you're running like that, you're probably spending about $1,600 and $1,600 to $1,800 in fuel. Well, hold on. Let's go back because I forgot to take out the split. So that's $3,300. I forgot to take out the split. That's very important. That split is very important. So that's $3,300 that they're pretty much. No, I'm sorry. I take that back. $7,425. Yeah, the 3,300 miles. So 7,000. I think it was 425, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 7,425. 7,425. So they're running and they're making about 7,425, right? But then they're only getting 80% of that. So they got to take out the split. So minus 20%. I hope my calculator's not working. It's not doing what I want it to do. All right, let's see here. 7,425. Let's start over. 7,425 minus 20%. There we go. Minus 20%. So, they take out the 14,85. That's going to the lease company. That leaves them with $5,940. Then they got all these other fees. They got their weekly lease fee. They got their maintenance fee. They got their, LED fees. They got all these other fees. They got their holdback. And remember, if they give you this upfront, little, $5.99 lease payment, they hold back another 10%, right? They're holding back 10%. So 10% from 7,425, or I'm sorry, they're usually holding back, another 15%. So minus 15% on your holdback, that drops you down to $5,049. And then you've got your, all your other fees, your lease payment. In some cases, your lease payment they can state that it's $599 with the holdback, without the holdback. But then you got all your other fees that total somewhere in the neighborhood of $3,200 bucks almost. When you start looking at all that stuff, and remember, they take out for your, you got your fuel, so you minus about $1,700 on your fuel, brings you down to $3,349. So you're looking at $3,349, and then you got to take out your lease payment of that $599 if they are, if that's what they say it is, out of $2,750. But then you got your hidden fees. And those hidden fees are going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of about $1,500 to $1,600 to $1,700. So you're taking out another $1,700 on those hidden fees. That's what gets you. All those other little knick-knack fees. So that means that lease operator, if they're lucky, they're taking about $1,050. $1,050. Now, let's run the same numbers with an Easy Lease program. Because remember, with the Easy Lease program, you get 100% of your line haul. All you pay is your lease payment. 100% of your line haul, okay? 24/7 roadside assistance, because that's included in your lease payment, okay? Easy Lease warranty included in your lease payment. You keep 100% of your load fees. Freedom to self-dispatch, and you don't need to ask us for permission or for approval to self-dispatch, okay? So you have all of this with Easy Lease, right? So let's do the math on that. Let's do the same math, okay? 3,300 miles times roughly $2.25. If you're running the same thing, $7,425. We do an apples to apple. So that's $7,425. $7,425. We do apples to apple. $7,425. I think we have another commercial. Okay, these commercials keep jumping in on YouTube, but what we're doing is we're doing the apples to apple comparison. We did it with what the average lease company is charging and what their holdbacks and their hidden fees, and now we're doing it with Easy Lease. The same 3,300 miles, $2.25 per mile on average, $7,425. You're running 6 days a week. With Easy Lease, let's see what your numbers come out to be. With any other lease company, you're coming out somewhere between $700 and $1,100 is your take home. With Easy Lease, let's do this. Remember, everything's included with Easy Lease. 24/7 roadside assistance, Easy Lease warranty included. Keep 100% of your load fees. We also have a maintenance plan that's going to be included in those lease payments. So with your all-inclusive lease payment, okay, the lease payment, you're taking out our highest lease, and this is going to depend on the make, model, and year of the truck. If you have a truck and trailer package, let's say you got the work. Let's say you got a truck that's only 5 years old or 5 or 6 years old. It's got a nice trailer, a trailer that's about 5 or 6 years old. So it's a pretty newer truck with a trailer and everything. So a lease like that, per week, it's going to be about $2,600 to $2,700. Now you probably say, "Well, that's high," but no, it's not. Okay. Let's take a look at it, because remember, you have no other fees. That's inclusive of everything that's included, Everything, all you bringing is your insurance, your authority, and your valid CDL. Your insurance, your authority, and valid CDL. That's all you need. Okay? Everything else is taken care of in your lease payment. All right. So you take that lease, $7,425 minus our top, at the very top end, $2,700. Looking at $4,725. And you pay your insurance. Insurance is about $900, $1,200 a year. You pay your insurance. Okay. You pay for your fuel. Take out your fuel on that. Let's do fuel because remember, you got to pay for your fuel. You pay for your fuel on that. We use the same fuel. Let's say $1,700. You can go apples to apples. That's a difference of almost a little over $2,000 take home. From the other lease programs with all the hidden fees, your fuel, the insurance, and all the stuff they're taking out, you're looking at about $1,025, $1,000 per week. Some cases $700. It just depends. And this is only on 3,300 miles. If you're like me, I was driving 30, at least, I mean, me and my partner combined, especially, we were driving some miles, about 3750. So with Easy Lease, you're looking at making one payment to us. We don't, you take care of your insurance, right? Your warranty, your maintenance plan, okay? Your lease payment, all that's inclusive. So on that alone, drivers will make a lot more money through Easy Lease than they would through any other type of program. Now, no, Easy Lease is not a lease to purchase because, as I'm going to explain to you, Easy Lease is not a lease to purchase because we are going to be the first commercial truck sharing platform, like Turo, somewhat like an Uber, like a Lyft, where private owners of trucks are going to be able to list their vehicles, list their trucks. People who own trucks are going to be able to list their trucks with Easy Lease, and they're going to earn thousands weekly. Okay? Now, let me show you how the owners of the trucks make money. The owner of the truck makes money because they're getting 60% of that lease fee. Okay? So when owners come on here and place their truck, you can be a fleet that has trucks that's just sitting out there in the back and there's nothing being done with them, or you can be an owner operator who's tired of driving and he wants to leave the truck, but most owner operators stay in the truck until they die because they don't have any other way to make the money. But if your truck could make about $75,000 a year without you being in it, without you paying any of the insurance or having any of the liability, would that be a viable option for you? Of course it would. So not only is Easy Lease set up to make money for those people who are going to be leasing the trucks, but it's a great opportunity for those people who are going to be listing their trucks to be leased out by Easy Lease. Let's take, for instance, the average truck is $2,400 on a weekly lease. Okay? That's the average truck on a $2,400 weekly lease. We already shown you that at a $2,700 a week, a driver can still bring home over $3,000, about $3,300 to $3,500 per week. That's good money. Okay? So $2,400, right? The truck owner, the asset owner, gets 60% of that. So the asset owner is getting $1,440 per week. $1,440 per week. Easy Lease is getting $960. So let's look at the asset owner. The asset owner is getting $1,440 per week times 52 weeks. So that's an average of $74,880 to the truck owner. Now, some truck owners are going to get more because they have newer trucks and the leases can go all the way up to $2,700. Some trucks are going to get a little bit less because they're going to go down to about $1,600 per week. Okay. But here's the thing. We guarantee all semi-truck owners, especially if you have a tractor and trailer. We guarantee all semi-truck owners with a tractor and trailer package. We guarantee you at least $1,200 per week. So if you have an older truck and you have an older trailer and your lease is down to, let's say the lease comes in at $1,400 or $1,600, if it comes in at $1,400, and if that 60% puts you under that $900, under that $1,000, we're gonna pay that truck owner, the owner of that truck, $1,000 per week from that lease. Okay. Now, if you just got a truck only with no trailer or whatever the case may be, just your truck only and things like that, we guarantee you. I think our guarantee on those are like $900 or $850 per week. On box trucks, it's a little bit less. We guarantee you're guaranteed like $650 per week on a box truck, and on your Sprinter vans and your cargo vans, we guarantee somewhere around $400 to $500 per week. But you don't have any insurance payments. You don't have any, and it could be higher. That's what we guarantee you when your truck gets leased out. Okay. So it's not like we're going to lease your truck out and you're only going to be getting, $200-300. If you got a semi truck, especially with the trailer, you're not going to get less than $1,000. But on average, an average semi truck with a trailer is going to average somewhere, to the actual owner of the truck around $1,460, $1,600, $1,700 per week, and that's good money. Now, so you're looking at the truck owner is making about $74,000 a year on average. That's for a truck that they're not doing anything, a truck that they're not driving. They don't have to pay the insurance on it because the lease operator is paying the insurance. They literally have no liability. The only thing that they are responsible for is making sure that truck can pass DOT inspection so that we can lease it out. That is the only liability. The only responsibility of that truck owner is to make sure that it passed DOT inspection. Now, every truck will be equipped with a tracker and a kill switch. We have a company that we can we have partnered with, that we can order them from and get them installed at your local truck dealer in their local area. So it's not like they got to bring the truck all the way across the country to get that installed. They can take it to a local, truck, dealer or truck mechanic in their area. They can install that tracking system and they can install the kill switch. Okay. And that tracking system can be tracked on an app through the company that we're using. You can pull up the truck on your app. You see where the truck is at all times. So the owners of the vehicle, they can always keep track of the vehicle, know where it's at, know what it's doing, the whole 9 yards. And if there's any problems, if they miss 2 payments, we then contact the owner, let them know that there have been 2 payments that have been missed, and we want to go ahead and recover that vehicle, or we will call the lease operator to find out what the problem is. If there's something that we can work through and keep them in the truck, we will work through it. If not, we will let them know that we need to recover that vehicle, and then we will go ahead and hit that that kill switch to turn the truck off so they can't move it, can't start it, or anything until we get a recovery company to go and recover that vehicle. Okay. In a nutshell, Easy Lease is looking to become the Turo of the commercial trucking industry. This is something that is going to, in our opinion, that's going to disrupt the status quo. This is something that's a radical change from what's out there now. And this is the type of company that makes people multimillionaires and billionaires, because you get in at the very beginning of it. In the pre-funding, in the what's called the pre-seed funding, as you can see here. This is what's called the pre-seed funding stage. In this stage, the SEC allows founders. It says here, this is considered the earliest funding stage. It typically involves the founders, the people who came up with the idea or came up with the vision or came up with the concept for a company. As you see, I already have websites built that shows people how these companies will work. We got another ad going on here. Y'all give me a second. All right. As I said before, this is in the pre-seed funding stage. In this stage, it typically involves the founders using their own resources or funds from friends and family to launch the business. Pre-seed funding often precedes product development. In other words, it's before they even start the company. It's before you have a product. It's before you have a service. It's before you create your LLC. So the founders say, we need, in our case, $200,000. In our case, we need $200,000 to launch Easy Lease the way that we want to do it. Okay? That's what we're looking for. $200,000. That's what we're looking to raise is $200,000. If one person comes up with that $200,000, that one person gets 40% of the company. Okay? We're offering 40% ownership of the company for $200,000 in pre-seed funding capital. If one person comes up with the $200,000, that one person owns 40% of the company. That's it. We're done. We're not asking for any more money in that pre-seed funding stage. That means in the average ordinary person we can't accept money from the average everyday ordinary person for any of the other fundraising rounds that we have, because the SEC says that we can't do it. We can't even accept your money after that. If two people come up with the $200,000 and each come up with a person puts in $100,000, they have 20% of the company. If a person puts in $50,000, $50,000 gets you 10% of the company. $25,000 gets you 5% of the company. $12,500 gets you 2.5% of the company. And at our lowest level, $6,250 gets you 1.25% of the company. That's the way it breaks down. That's the way it breaks down. Okay? Matter of fact, let me pull it up and show it to you here. But that is the way it breaks down. This is our breakdown right here. 40% ownership for $200,000 in pre-seed funding. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for $200,000 for 40% ownership of the company. 20%, $100K for 20% of the company. $50,000 gets you 10% of ownership of the company. $25,000 gets you 5% ownership of the company. $12,500 gets you 2.5% ownership of the company, and $6,250 gets you 1.25% of the company. Now, let's look at how we're going to proceed, how we're going to use that money, and how we're going to proceed at each funding level. We're also going to look at how Easy Lease is going to make money and how you are going to make money from your dividends of your percentage, and how you're going to make a lot of money once we get to the exit strategy stage. The exit strategy stage could take anywhere from 3 to 5 to 6 years. But at that point, you have so many shares for your little, $6,250, which we're going to show you here, that we would get to that stage and we get the evaluation and the company goes public or the company gets bought out. You're looking at, millions of dollars that you made off of your $6,250. And let's go over that right now. Let's go back to Easy Lease. And after that, I'm going to go over with you all how to navigate the site and show you all what we had up about years ago, as far as the trucks that we had on the site and people who actually came on and connected with us and listed their trucks. And we actually had owner operators listing their trucks. but we didn't have the funding we needed to take it to that next level. And this is why we're doing the pre-seed funding round that we're doing now for giving up ownership of the company. Okay. All right. So as you can see here, this is Easy Lease 24/7 roadside assistance, Easy Lease warranty included. Keep 100% of your load fees. Freedom to self-dispatch, 90% less fees. People can come here. They can fill out this quick form and submit it to let us know. Now, when drivers want to lease a truck through Easy Lease, they do have some upfront fees. They have a $1,500 Easy Lease acquisition fee and a $1,500 Easy Lease deposit. Okay. The acquisition fee goes to the owner of the asset. Okay, that's the asset acquisition fee. The Easy Lease deposit goes to Easy Lease for our administrative fees to get everything done, lease contracts, purchasing those kill switches and the trackers and getting the tracker put on and things of that nature. Okay, so your total upfront fees is $3,000. That's it for those people who want to do an Easy Lease and lease a truck through Easy Lease. Okay, once they've done that, once they've paid that $3,000, they then reserve their slot. Then they can go and they can check to see. They can check the availability. Okay, they can go and check the available assets. They get here, they see the available assets, some that are featured. They can click on one of the ones that are featured, or they can click here and see all of the assets that's listed on to Easy Lease, as you see here. And as you can see, we had quite a few assets that were listed. When we did this the first time about 3 years ago, we had quite a few assets listed. This was in 2022. We had a nice 2015 Kenworth. We had a 2017 Cascadia. So we had some nice vehicles here. Okay, we had some Volvos and Freightliners. And if you click on it, if you click on the asset, you could go over and you can see the photos and video of the actual asset itself. You can click here and see the different photos of the assets so that they can take a look at the assets. And we even had some assets that had videos that went with them, as you can see here. They loaded up the videos to them where the owners took videos of their trucks so they can show you what the inside looks like and what the asset, exactly what you're getting with that truck. And of course, it had down here all of the mileage and what the lease was. This particular lease, because of the miles on it and the age of the vehicle, this particular lease was between $1,250 and $1,575. And in this particular vehicle, and this was a tractor only. This is not a tractor and trailer. This was a tractor only. Okay, so this particular vehicle was a tractor only. So the owner of the asset was getting a minimum of $900. A minimum of $900 per week because it was a truck only. Okay, if it was a tractor and trailer, we pay a minimum. We guarantee $1,000 per week. But this owner operator was getting a minimum of $900 per week. Okay. And when you click here, reserve their truck. We had a payment processor that was linked to it. We don't have that right now because we're not actually active right now. So we can't take money right now because we're trying to raise the funds to actually, go back in, upgrade the site, build a actual working app. We got to do marketing, things of that nature. So that's what the $200,000 is for. $200,000 is for so we can actually get the company started, do the marketing that we need, upgrade the sites, get the mobile app developed, and and start bringing in more clientele and bringing in more asset owners and have this be a nationwide thing. Okay. All right. So also, when you come to the site, you can some more sections. We have a list of equipment types that we accept. All of the different equipment types that Easy Lease will be featuring. Everything from box trucks to tractor trailers, tractor only, tractor and trailers, and trailers. We also gonna have both reefer and dry vans, as well as flatbeds. And they can come and click on each section to see what the Easy Lease tractors. You want to look and see what what we're charging for the Easy Lease tractors. Tractors only, 1,000 to 1,800 weekly on the tractors only. If you're looking at a tractor and with trailers, you're looking at between $1,900 to $2,700 weekly. As we said before, it tops out at $2,700. If you're looking at the Easy Lease box trucks, you're looking at between $700 and $900 weekly on the box trucks. And if you're looking at the dry van trailers only, looking at $280. If someone just needs a dry van trailer, $280 to $395 weekly only. That's just for the trailer if that's all they need. And we're looking at the refrigerated trailers, $400 to $625 weekly on the refrigerated trailers. So those are the pricing for the Easy Lease. We have a Easy Lease privacy policy, Easy Lease terms, of service. We have a frequently asked questions area. Some of the main questions that we were getting. First of all, what kind of commercial vehicle can I list with Easy Lease? So if you're an owner of a commercial vehicle, we allow you to list semi trucks with and without sleepers, box trucks, 10 to 26 feet in length, and range from class 3 to class 7, 12,500 pounds to 33,000 pounds gross vehicle weight. Another question that we get is, how does easy leasing a commercial vehicle help me or my business? All right. And first, many of our customers don't have perfect credit or have a startup, which makes it difficult, if not impossible, to obtain financing to purchase a commercial vehicle. Secondly, leasing with Easy Lease you can improve your credit score if you make timely payments, and most importantly, you get to keep 100% of your load fees, which greatly increases your revenue. Is there a down payment or a lot of hidden fees associated with Easy Lease? Easy Lease has 90% less fees than the traditional commercial truck lease. There are only 2 admitted upfront fees. As we talked about, the Easy Lease acquisition fee, $1,500, and we have the Easy Lease deposit, which is $1,500. The total is $3,000. Okay, on the upfront fees, and it goes to explaining what those upfront fees are for. Y'all can kind of watch that. What do I need to qualify for an Easy Lease? Qualifying for an Easy Lease is, easy. Driving experience, time on the job, and credit are not an issue. With Easy Lease, all you need is a valid CDL, your authority, and insurance. Can I self-dispatch? Absolutely. And you don't need our approval. Your desire to be an owner-operator comes from wanting your independence and freedom to chart your own path to success as a trucking industry professional. And Easy Lease has absolutely no desire in exerting any type of control over your authority to run your trucking business as you see fit. Okay, so with a lot of these companies, when you ask them, can you self-dispatch, a lot of them say no. And the ones that do say yes, you got to have, it has to pass their approval. So you have to actually send it to them they have to redo it on a Qualcomm minus your split and send it back to you. And that's if they approve it. Most of the time, people they're not they're not approving those things. We've got some questions here. Omar Ezra's, how seasoned is your authority? Okay. We're not looking for any type of season. If you got your authority, that's good. It doesn't have to be seasoned. None of this 1 year, 2 years, 6 months seasoning, none of that stuff. Okay. If DOT would allow you to be in a truck, guess what? You can easy lease a truck through Easy Lease. The whole point of Easy Lease is to make it very easy for you to get your truck. We remove all of the obstacles. We remove all of the barriers to you becoming an owner operator. Now, granted, you're not buying the truck because the trucks are being owned. They're owned by someone else. This is a ride sharing program. This is just like Turo, where people list their personal cars and people go online and they choose those cars and then they put their deposit down, or they pay, to rent it, and then they come pick the car up. We're becoming the Turo for the commercial trucking industry. Okay, first of its kind. Omar also asked, are you bringing on company drivers or owner operators or both? We're not bringing on company drivers just yet. You have to have your own authority. Okay. In order to do Easy Lease, you have to have your own authority. This is why we need that $200,000, that startup capital, so we can kind of get into the other areas of trucking. Eventually, once we get that first round of seed money and we get the company started, I'm going to show you how the company's going to make money. Later, we're going to be purchasing our own trucks. We're going to be purchasing our own fleet of trucks. Now, once we purchase our own fleet of trucks, we have some of those will be leased, some of those will be for company drivers, because we will eventually get our own authority. We'll purchase our own trucks, and we'll be able to bring on company drivers. Right now, we don't need our own authority because we don't own the trucks, and we're just leasing them out. We're not hiring people to drive, to become company drivers yet, but eventually we will. Eventually we will. It was also asked, what type of trailers will you be pulling? Easy Lease is going to have, all in between. Okay. Flatbed, dry van, reefer, low boys, so because there are a lot of people out there who own trailers, a lot of people out there who own trucks, and they're not driving them. There's a lot of companies out there that's got 15, 20, 30, 40, 60, 100 trucks sitting on their back lot, perfectly good trucks, but they've got nobody to put in them, so they're just sitting there, and they're paying insurance on those trucks every single month or every single year. They're the perfect candidates to list their trucks with Easy Lease, because they don't have to worry about paying insurance on those trucks anymore. Why? Because the lease operator will be paying the insurance. So Easy Lease is really a game changer. It really is a game changer. But first, we need to raise the capital to be able to put this into operation. Okay. The last question, what's the split? Of course, the split, there is no split. You keep 100% of your line haul on all your self-dispatched loads. Now, you have the option to request dispatch assistance from our national dispatchers network, in which case you agree to pay a dispatch fee of 10%, which still leaves you with 90% of the load fee or 90% of the line haul. That's still better than 95% of all the lease companies out there, where you're only getting 80% and some getting 75% or some getting 70%. And with your holdback and all the other stuff, you're actually getting less than that. But as you can see with Easy Lease, we are literally removing all barriers. We're removing all of the obstacles. And we are solving all of the major problems that people have with lease purchase and leases with these companies. Okay. If you choose to utilize any of our contracted broker freight, get this, Easy Lease can request on your behalf a disclosure of the broker's margin with the shipper for transparency. Now, who does that? Because that's another big question that I hear all the time with a lot of these other lease companies. People are always asking, well, if I'm getting these broker loads, would the broker be willing to show me their invoice? No. But because they're contracted with Easy Lease, any broker that contracts with Easy Lease, we're gonna require them to, if requested, they're gonna need to show their invoice or their margin. In actuality, that's a requirement through the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration now. That's supposed to be a requirement. If asked, every broker is supposed to show their invoice. Easy Lease will make that request on your behalf. Okay. Edward's last question is, I think I understand your business plan. Sorry, but hey, no problem. That's why we're here. We're here to make sure that we can, make sure you have a clear understanding of what we're trying to accomplish and how we are different and how we are going to upset, the status quo. Because that's where the companies make money. Uber made money because they upset the status quo of taxi cabs. Who would have thought in 1998, when the guy came up with the idea for Uber, 1998, 1999, and he went to his friends and families and his associates and said, hey, I need $27 million, because that's what they raised in their first round. $27 million. He had some good friends and some very wealthy friends and family members who put that money up, and associates and stuff who put that money up so that he can start that company. But guess what? They're all billionaires now. And I'm going to show you how you all can do the same with Easy Lease. They're all billionaires now because they got these million shares of stock. And then when the company went to its evaluation stage, which was about 6 years later, and it went public, it's only 6 years. So this is how I'm telling you, you can make money. You can become wealthy. You can become billionaires. You can become multimillionaires in your lifetime when you invest in the pre-seed funding stage of any company. Okay? So we're going to go over that and show you exactly how that happens. All right? So let's jump over to how to raise capital. Okay. So remember, in the pre-seed funding stage, the SEC says that is the only time when the founders, someone like myself, who creates who has this vision, who created this business model, who created this concept, for a business. I went a little bit further. I actually created a website and did some test marketing about 3 years ago just to see if it would take traction. So I've actually gone a few steps further than the average concept for seed funding, for the pre-seed funding. I actually have a working website in place that you all can go to and take a look at and get a clear understanding of how this works. The next stage is to get an app built. Now that costs some money. That's why we need this $200,000. Okay, so this is what we're looking at. All right, the SEC says that only in this stage, in the pre-seed funding stage, can everyday ordinary people have an opportunity to invest in the idea or the vision or the dream or the concept before it becomes a company. They can invest in it and get ownership shares in that company. This is your best and only time to make some serious money, to get in on a company without having to put up an ungodly amount of money to become wealthy. We got a commercial going on right now. So see when that's going. Let me skip that real quick. All right. We have these commercials that pop in. That's my agreement with YouTube. But anyway, all right. So at this stage, let's say we're trying to get $200,000. That's what we need. We need $200,000 for our pre-seed funding stage. That money is really going to help us to get to the next stage, which is our seed funding. Is the first official funding stage typically taking place after the startup has a small amount of traction. So this initial $200,000 is going to help us to get the business started, to go out and make sure we get our LLC. Everybody who puts in their money into this part of it, they're going to be listed on our our Florida Division of Corporations, very lowest level. We're going to talk about at the bottom line investment, $6,250, which gets you 1.25% of the company. I'm going to show you all how that 1.25% is going to make you money. All right. So if you come in at that level, gets you $6,250. That's going to get you 1.25% of the company, because we need 200,000. And if you only invested in that, that means you're only getting 1.25% of the company. Okay. So at the lowest investment stage, as far as the pre-seed funding is, and now you can't participate in any other funding after that until it gets to the IPO stage. And you don't want to participate in the IPO stage because it costs too much money, okay, to buy stocks. And you're not going to make any money that way. You make your money in the pre-seed. You make your money, all these other big companies make their money in the seed funding, the Series A, the Series B, the Series C, and the Series D, and areas like that. That's where they make their money. But you can actually make money in the pre-seed stage. Why? Because you're in the very beginning. You're the people that say, okay, well, Calvin, take a look at your business model. It looks great. I think it has great potential. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put some money in this, and let's see where it goes. But see, here's the thing. You can't have a whole lot of people participating in that part of it. Even if we got only people who invest in $6,250, you take the 200, because remember, we're not asking for more than $200,000. So if we take that and we divide that by the lowest investment, $6,250, that means we only got 33 owners of the company, including myself. I'm retaining 60% because I want to keep control of the company, and 32 people will share 40% of the company, all at a 1.25%. Each one of those 32 people would get 1.25% of the company. That's if all we got were people who were investing $6,250. We would have 32 owners other than myself, and they would own 40% of the company, each one of them owning 1.25% of the company. So that's why I'm showing you all what it would be if you only own 1.25% of the company. Now, if 4 or 5 people came up with $10,000, whatever the case may be, then we're going to have even less owners of the company. If 2 people came up with the whole $200,000, we only have 3 owners of the company, myself and 2 other people. So in this sense, you're not going to have this opportunity that's going to be available to a lot of people, because it's only meant for people who you present this to, people who you allow to come in and give them the opportunity to become owners of your company. All right. So with that being said, let's proceed with this 1.25%. So in this pre-seed, we raised $200,000. That $200,000, this is how it's going to be spent. We're going to spend about $5,000 on social media marketing. Okay. Doing, Facebook ads. And that's about all we need, really. Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, Instagram ads, Twitter, on just social media. Okay. Primarily Facebook. A lot of trucking companies on Facebook. A lot of trucking groups on Facebook. Primarily Facebook and LinkedIn. That's where we're going to be doing a lot of our advertising. So about $5,000 to $7,000, maybe $10,000 on social media marketing. So at the very top, let's say $10,000 on social media marketing. That's $190,000. Now, the other thing that we're going to be putting money into is the development of an app. That costs money. We really want to upgrade the site. Okay, I have a nice site, but we want to upgrade it to be more in line with the Turo, how Turo looks, and and functionality and things like that. We're going to upgrade the site. That costs money. Typically, that's going to cost us about $40,000. To have an actual app built, an actual good app that we can put out there that people can use, and have the actual website with all the functionality that we want in it. That's going to cost about $40,000. It's going to use about $150,000. Okay. Then we've got to look into, I can't do this by myself. We got to have help. Eventually, we're going to need customer service reps, people like that to answer, to answer calls and things of that nature. We will probably wind up hiring some type of what's those firms called? Hiring a help me out here, y'all. Hiring one of those firms that does the that like not an answering service, like a call center. Thank you, a call center. We're probably going to wind up, hiring a call center. That's probably going to be the cheapest way to go to, in hiring a call center. And we figure that's going to be about a $15,000 contract. Right. Now we are also going to, we're going to have to do some mainstream, we have to do some mainstream media marketing. I'm talking like on streaming channels, on some of the other places that we've got to bounce TV, some of the networks or something like that. That is going to be pretty expensive to get on a streaming channel. It's not that expensive to do streaming channels, but the network stuff, and stuff like that, it's going to be about 25. We're looking about 25 grand. Oh, what happened? Hold on. We went from 130 some thousand to 25, 135. Let me just got that right. All right. So we went from 135. There we go. Minus 25. I put in too much. There we go. 25. There we go. All right. So we're looking at about $110,000. Now, we also have to pay people. We got, like I said, company executives, people don't work for free. Okay, they're not going to make a whole lot that first year, because we're using that $200,000. Okay, I've got to put a whole bunch of time into this. As CEO of the company, I've got to live on something. The other people who we're going to be hiring, they have to live on something. That's just a fact of any type of business while we're trying to build this thing. Now, the question of this is, what type of growth can we expect from Easy Lease? Okay, what type of growth can we expect? Now, someone else said, Omar says, how much are you taking as an owner's salary? As me myself, I don't need more than $40,000. I've got a house to pay for. I've got some other stuff that I do that brings in money. So I'm not one of those owners during the first year that needs, $200,000, $100,000, $150,000, $75,000. I don't need that. At the very top end, maybe 40 grand. Very top end. That's if that. Because I have other sources of revenue that comes in from other platforms that I've created over the years. Okay. And mind you, the company is going to be making money. We're not just relying on that $200,000. The $200,000 is for us to get the company up to speed to making where we want to bring in about $50,000 a week within the first year. So the company is going to be making some serious money, and I'm going to show y'all how that's possible. Because remember, the average lease is $2,400. And part of that split, and that minus 60% is going to the owner of the asset. So that's $1,440 is going to the owner of the asset. That leaves $960 on average to Easy Lease. So if we're bringing in $960 a week on average to Easy Lease, and let's do it on just one truck. On one truck, if we're doing $960 on one truck through Easy Lease, and that's not including what we make off of the $1,500 on the upfront fee. That's not including what we're making on the fuel surcharge and the fuel cards, because we have these affiliate or partnership agreements with these fuel card companies, with factoring companies, we're in partnership with brokers, and not including what we make on the dispatch, because that 10% on that dispatch fee, we split that with the dispatcher who's actually handling each one of those trucks. I have a national dispatchers. We got another ad going on here. Give me a second here. All right. We have another ad that popped up. All right. I have a platform called the National Dispatchers Network that I've been running for the last since 2016. I mean, we've got over 800 dispatchers on that network. They all pay like $39 to $49 a month. They get access to all the tools and resources. They watch our training videos and all that stuff. And these people are dispatching freight. So we have the National Dispatchers Network, who we can use as a dispatch firm to dispatch these drivers if they choose to want dispatch. So for those drivers that choose dispatcher, we're charging 10% on the dispatch fee, which we split that with the dispatcher, 50-50. So 5% is going to us, and 5% of that dispatch fee is going to them. The figure that I'm about to do now does not include the money that we're going to make on the dispatch fee, does not include the money that we're going to make on the fuel discount cards, does not include the money that we're going to make on factory, does not include any of that other stuff that we're making money on the warranty, because the warranty is built in, but we're getting a bit of override on that too. On the maintenance plans, we're not including all we're just going based on our cut from the lease. Okay? We're using just that. So $960 a week per truck, right? That times 52 weeks during the year. So that's on the average truck, Easy Lease is making $49,920 per year on an average truck. Okay? On an average truck. Now, do you think it's going to be inconceivable for us to get 100 trucks leased out on Easy Lease within the first year? I think that'll be a snap. With what we're offering to the lease operator, 100% of the line haul, self-dispatch, no hidden fees, take home at the very low end, $3,600, $3,300, $600 per week. Okay. And what we're offering to the truck owners for these fleets that got these trucks just sitting out there, they're not doing anything with, for these owners who want to come off the road, but they don't come off the road because they need to keep making money. You got a lot of older truck drivers that are ready to come off the road. You got a lot of truck drivers, period, who want to come off the road, but they can afford to come off the road. But if they can come off the road and their truck can make them on average $75,000 per year or more, and they have no liability, they don't have to pay for insurance. They have to pay for that stuff. I think we could easily get 100 trucks leased out within the first year. So with that being said, if we hit our target of 100 trucks, I think we're going to do twice as many as that, really, to be honest with you. I mean, I launched this 3 years ago and put it up for like a few weeks, and we already had 17, 20 trucks on the site. as you can see from what we just showed you all. So if we're looking at 100 trucks, that times 100, we're looking at $4,992,000 in yearly income off just 100 trucks, 100 active leases. And remember, that does not include the extra income we get from dispatching, we get from factoring, we get from the fuel cards, the brokering. This is just on the leasing of the truck. Our cut. So it's not like we're going to be just resting. That $200,000 is basically just to give us that start, to give us the money we need to actually create the business. That's what that's for. And we're not even asking for a whole lot. As you can see here, on average, companies that were in this pre-seed funding, they got up to $3.6 million. Now, I could have easily said, yeah, let's do $2 million. But then, that would make the way for 2 minute owners. Unless we had somebody who come up and say, hey, here's $1 million. And they own 20% of the company. You see what I'm saying? But I'm only using what we just, the bare minimum of what we need to be able to make this happen. To be able to make this happen. Because once we start making money, as you can see, which is not going to be hard to do, on just 100 trucks that's leased out, that's $4,992,000. $4,992,000 in yearly income. You break that up into 52 weeks. Each week, we're looking at $96,000 a week. So once we get rolling, guess what? Whatever we would have the money to pay employees, to pay for the stuff we need. I mean, that $200,000 does not even come into play when it comes to salary. That $200,000 is what we need to just get this thing started, get this thing rolling. Because once we get it started, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Any of you that knows anything about trucking, if you've seen all the ads, if I go to Facebook right now, I bet I can surf Facebook for about a minute, and I'm going to see some type of lease trucking ad. Let's see here for a second. Let's go over here to Facebook, and let's just start strolling. I'm just going to start strolling. I'm willing to bet before too long, I'm going to see some pop up about leasing a truck, or something about the trucking industry when it comes to how to get a truck or something. I'm not even going to be on here probably not more than a minute or two, and I'm going to start seeing something about trucking. Well, there's my ad. Calm data. Look at that. Choose calm data. There's one thing about trucking. Trailer inspection form. Heavy duty trailer inspection form. Some type of software. Let's scroll down some more. I haven't been on here for 30 seconds yet. Not even a whole minute yet. You see, I got my ads. Look at this right here. Somebody else, there's something somebody posted about trucking. No, well, that's just somebody posted something they wanted to post. Let's keep strolling. We're about a minute and 40. We're coming up on a minute. Don't miss our Yellow Corp auction event. Auction off trailers and trucks. And, people can't afford to pay, the kind of money that these people want for these trucks and others. Free Truckers Easy Tax Checklist. But I'm always seeing these ads about leasing companies. Over the last 2 years, I've researched 127 leasing companies. I've done research on 127 lease companies. Okay. And this is how I came up with the Easy Lease platform. Available now, trucks for your business. Here we go right here. We offer the perfect truck solution for your business. Lease to buy. Let's look at some of the questions that people are asking about this lease to buy. So right at about a minute and a half to 2 minutes, we run into a lease, thing here. People are asking under my MC more information on lease to purchase. Hi, I've called and text. I haven't gotten a response. Not very many comments. We got 19 comments. Let's see if we can pull up more comments on this. No, that's all they've got. They don't have very many comments on it. All right. But as you can see here, it didn't take us long to start seeing something about a truck leasing company. And and when I go through those and I research those, and I'm hearing a lot of questions about splits, hearing a lot of questions about do yourself dispatch. I'm hearing a lot of questions about what's the hidden fees, and what's the holdback and all that. Easy Lease has none of that. None of that. Easy Lease has none of that. Okay? None of the holdback and none of that. So let's get back to showing you exactly how you make money with Easy Lease. Now, go back here. Yeah. Where am I? All right. So $96,000 a week with just 100 trucks, with 100 active leases. I mean, most trucking companies, when they start out with their leasing programs, even the ones that they have now that charge these ungodly fees and have all these hidden fees and have the splits, and you can't self-dispatch and you have no control. In the first year, on average, a trucking company has about 300 to 400, 500 leases out. At least 300 to 400 leases out. If we just reach 100 that first year, we're looking at $96,000 per week. $96,000 per week on 100 trucks. If it's only 50, we're looking at about $43,000 per week, which is still over $2 million a year. Okay, so I'm not worried about Easy Lease making money. The $200,000 is to just get us started, to get us, to start moving things forward. Because without that, we can't move forward. We can't get to the next stage. We can't get to the next stage. So based on this right here, on just 100 trucks, and we're looking at the dividends, the payments, of what that means to you as a person who owns 1.25%. Remember, we're basing everything on the very low end. Another commercial. I do apologize. We got to have these commercials. All right. So we're back off the commercial. All right. So we're looking at, on the very low end, 1.25%. If you came in on the very bottom level, $6,250. You own 1.25% of the company. If everybody put that in, everybody on 1.25% of the company. So let's look at and see what that is at the very bottom level. So $96,000 a week. Go back up that times 52 weeks. $4,992,000 per year in revenue, and your cut of that, let's say 1.25%. That minus 1.25%. So $62,000 a year return on your $6,250. I mean, seriously, is that not, now, obviously we want to keep money in the company. So as owners of the company, once we set our shares, we're going to go into creating shares here in a second. Once we set our shares, we want every owner of the company to put something back into the company, right? I'm not saying you got to give up your whole $62,400 a year back into the company, right? But we do want the company to make money. We don't want to just pay out all the money that the company is making. A company can't survive like that. So we would set up dividends to where, let's say, 60% of that is going back into the company, or 40% is going back into the company. Either way, let's do the calculation on both. 62.4. So 62.4. 400,000 minus 60%. 37,000. So that means, even if you're only putting in, if you put in $6,250, you're still drawing $24,000 a year on your $6,000. That's if we would set that up on 60% going back to the company. Now we reverse that. If we reverse that, you're getting $37,400 per year based on 100 trucks, and $24,960 is going back into the company. But the company has to have some type of revenue. We can't just pay out all of the money that the company makes into percentages and dividends. Okay? Now, with that being said, if we flip that and we have 33 people putting in, everybody's only coming in at 6,250 investment level, and we have 33 owners other than myself, right? We have 32 owners, or 33 owners, other than myself, and they're all putting back in $24,960. So $24,960 out of their dividends, out of their percentage of the revenue, and that times 33. So that's $823,000 going back into the company for the year. Okay, including now when you add my contribution back to the company, because I own 60% of the company still, so my contribution would be considerably higher. What was that? It was, hold on, it was $4,992,000. All right. So $4,992,000 minus 60%. So that's where I would be at. So as you see, I that 200,000 is not even a consideration, for me to. There will be no need to even dip into that. To be honest with you, once we got started, we won't need that. So we're looking at that right there, and then $2,995,000. I'm gonna tell you right now, we hit that. On the first year, I'm only drawing $100,000. That's all I'm drawing. That's all I'm drawing. I don't need $1 million to live off of. I'm only going to draw $100,000. Hold on here. 2 million. What were we at? Who's that? 2,995,200. Okay, there we go. So who's that? 2,995,200. 2,995,200. I'm only drawing $100,000, which is still going to leave $2,800,000 put in on top of the $800 million that we had coming from the other owners that only had 1.5%. So total $823,680. So that plus $823,680. So we got revenue back into the company. Revenue for the company, $3,718,880 for the year. That's now. We're gonna want to put that in. Now, what we're gonna want to do with that money, we're gonna want to, diversify and reinvest that money into some of it into what? Getting our own trucks at this point. And this is like just going into year 2. We're at a stage where now we can buy, a small fleet of our own trucks. We can probably get 8, 9, 10 trucks, for about 400,000. With $1 million, we can probably get 15 trucks or 10 trucks. You understand what I'm saying? So we get to the point to where we start buying our own trucks, and then our profits really go up. Why? Because when we lease those trucks out, we're not having to split that with owners of trucks. Even though we still have owners who are coming listing their truck with us, but as we're building our own fleet, we're actually compounding our profits, our revenue, because we're not having to share, we're not having to give 60% of the lease fees back to the asset owner of those trucks that we buy ourselves. So this leads us to the second stage of the seed funding. I'm showing you all how you all are still going to make money on your dividends, how the company's going to make money, how we're going to have money to grow, how we're going to have money to expand, to buy more assets, to triple our revenue as time goes on, because now we're buying our own trucks, we're leasing out our own trucks, on top of we leasing out trucks that people are placing with us on Easy Lease. I mean, we're at that stage now where it says this stage right here, seed funding. Seed funding is the first official funding stage, typically taking place after the startup has a small amount of traction. Is this not traction? Is this not traction? And I don't think it's going to take, much more than a year to get to this type of traction. Investors in this stage include angel investors, incubators, and venture capital firms specializing in early stage investment. Now, this is not for the average person. If you are an average person and you wanted to get involved or become a part of something like this, you better do it in this pre-seed funding stage. If you are looking at this, or if you're going to be watching this after we, on YouTube or wherever, on Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever, and you know anything about trucking, it would behoove you to really take a close look at this. And if you see that, okay, what we have is doable, what we have has the potential, and if you got the ability to jump in, you better jump in. Because you're not going to get an opportunity to jump in after this. And there's not going to be very many slots for you to jump in at, because we're only seeking $200,000. Now, it would be one thing if we were seeking, $3 million, then we could have, maybe 100, 150 people who come in at the mid-level and still be able to, bring in a lot of people. But I don't want, 60, 70, 80 owners of a company. No, I don't want that. No. So that's why I'm keeping this pre-seed funding round relatively small, $200,000. At the very most, if all people put in is $6,250, I only got 32 people, 32 owners that I got to worry about. That's it. That's it. I'm really hoping I get some people to come in at the $25,000 level and the $12,000 and $50,000 level, so we only have about 5 or 6 owners. That's what I'm really hoping. I'm hoping when it's all said and done, we raise this $200,000 that we only have about 5 or 6 owners. To be honest with you, 7 or 8 at the most, 10 at the very tops. Okay, but make no mistake about it, you cannot. Even if we wanted to, we could not accept your money after this pre-seed funding stage. It becomes illegal for us to even accept your money after that stage. Because at this stage, once we get to this stage, we have this company that we're going, we're bringing this type of money. Now we can do, the SEC says that we can now create shares. Now, this is where it gets really, 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 it gets really interesting. It gets really exciting because we get to create shares. Okay. Now, the SEC does not put a limit on how many shares a startup can create for its principal shareholders. People like yourself who came in and put in the money to help us get started. So now we reward you all with shares because we can create shares. We can create 500 million shares. We can create 1 billion shares. It doesn't matter how many shares you create. You can create as many shares as you want. And I've already got a company that would manage our shares, and they're called EQ Vista. Sorry about that. All right, we had our commercial. A company that can manage our shares because I had a couple of other companies on with them. I'm just logging in to my account with them from another company that I was starting up. A confirmation. Oh shoot, I gotta. We sent your confirmation code password to email. Oh, I don't. Okay, I don't want to be checking my email. Give me a second. Let me see if I can find this and log onto this. It's company's called EQ Vista. EQ Vista. Company dashboard. See if I can go ahead and jump to my company dashboard. Okay. Both of these emails I no longer have. Yeah. All right. Let me just see if I can go and look at the company without. But the company's called. It's not letting me get in. But the company is called EQ Vista. You all can look them up. Let me go to eqvista.com without logging in and just see if I can get an overview of the company. Yeah. It's not letting. It really don't want to let me in here without logging in. All right. Let's see. Sign in with Google. Let me sign in with Google. All right. Let's try to sign in with Google. See if it'll let me at least get in to kind of. All right. It's showing me something for a new company. We'll have to create a new company. But what we would do is once we get the money that we need, we would create our account with EQ Vista. Now EQ Vista, they track all shares. So we can go to EQ Vista and say, we created 500 million shares for this first round. We created 500 million shares. Now, when we create these shares in EQ Vista, okay, you all can look them up online. We create these shares in EQ Vista. Let's say we create 500 million shares, which I would not create less than 500 million shares, if I'm starting a company. But we create 500 million shares. Okay. Why is I'm not seeing this on my screen? Are you all on the same screen that I'm on? Am I still sharing? I'm still sharing, but I'm not seeing it on my screen. We got a delay here. Y'all give me a second here. I'm not sure what's going on, but what I'm looking at on my screen is not what I'm seeing shown on my screen. Give me a second. Okay. Yeah, I guess it was showing. It just wasn't pulling up. It's delayed on my live chat for some reason. All right. So we created this on EQ Vista, and hopefully it'll pop up on my screen so I can see what we really got going on here. I'm watching this live, but I'm not seeing it showcase what I'm seeing on my screen. Y'all give me a second. Let me go back to this, and maybe that'll help clear it up. All right, let me stop sharing and restart share. I don't know what happened. All right, entire screen. Allow. Okay. All right, so hopefully we can get my screen back up. There we go. Now we're back to where we need to be. All right. I apologize. All right. So we create so we create our 500 million shares in EQ Vesta because now we're at this stage right here where the SEC says we can create shares, for the company, because now we're moving into venture capitalists and getting money from venture capitalists and other, the angel investors from these accredited investors. So we got to have enough shares to offer to those type of people that's got that really, really big money, because they're going to be paying a lot more money for the shares than what you all paid for them. Okay, so now we create 500 million shares, right? We take 60% of those shares are going to be for our principal shareholders, people like yourself, people like me, people like those, anybody who who put in their money to help raise that $200,000. So if you want to put in $6,250, you got 1.2%, 1.25%. So we set aside 60% of that 500 million shares for our owners of the company. So minus 60%. So that's 300 million that's going to go to us, and that's going to leave 200 million for us to sell, for us to offer, these venture capitalists and these other rounds of funding if we choose to embark on that. So we got 300 million shares that's for the owners of the company. Now, that's 300 million shares that's for the owners of the company. Now this is outside of your dividends that you're bringing in, that you're making from what the company is making. These are shares, so we're now creating shares. We are a privately held firm. We're still a privately held firm. We haven't gone public. We're a privately held firm, and the SEC says that we can create shares for the company and have shares for our owners and shares for our future investors coming in these upcoming series of funding that we're going to be raising. So the shares for our owner, those are called preferred shares, which means those are voting right shares. Any owner has voting rights in the company. So those are preferred shares. We have 300 million of those. If you came in at the 1.25% level, you only invested $6,250, you're getting 1.25% of those 300 million shares. So that minus 1.25%. So you got 3,750,000 shares for just your little $250. For your $6,250, you got 3,750,000 shares. Now, I'm going to tell you, that's going to make you a millionaire to the tune of about $600,000-$700,000 when we get to the initial public offering stage. Okay, and I'm going to walk you all through this. Now, all through these other stages, right, the average person cannot participate. No more people can participate in these upcoming stages if they don't have at least $500,000 net worth. If they don't have also $150,000 to $175,000 of annual income. If they don't have at least $300,000 to $700,000 in assets. Why? Because those are the criteria for accredited investors. It's unfair. I know it's so unfair. My God, the game is rigged. I'm telling you, it's rigged. The SEC says it is illegal for anybody who does not meet those requirements to engage in these other funding stages of a company after it's already been developed. So it's okay for an everyday, average, ordinary people, a person, an associate, a friend, or a family member to invest into an idea, a concept, a dream, that someone has, and they can put whatever they want to put into it up until it gets fully funded, right? That is your only opportunity. That is the only way you can invest in a company at that early stage and become part owner of that company, because any other way you can't do it. We won't even be able to accept your money after this stage. Because if you're not an accredited investor, we can't even approach you. We can't take any of your money. We can't accept any of your money. You can beg me, Calvin, please take my $1,000, take my $5,000, take my $20,000. I can't do it because I'll wind up in prison. Okay? I can't do it. Because in these fundings, these are only for wealthy people, wealthy companies, investment firms, and things of that nature. I know it's so unfair. The game is set up to where only the rich keep making rich people richer. That's the way it's set up. Okay? So, in this stage right now, Series Funding A, okay? Series A funding. At this stage, startups have developed a track record and established user base, consistent revenue figures, or some other key performance indicator. Venture capital firms are the primary investors in Series A rounds, and these firms expect a developed business model and clear strategy for turning a profit. Now, once we're making money like this, and by the time we hit this, we're probably making twice that. Okay, because that first year is when we got to, that area where we was making, $2.9 million or $4 million, almost $5 million, a year. That was that first year. That second year, we're probably going to compound that twice over. Because we're probably going to go from 100 trucks to about 250 to 300 trucks. Not only that, probably about 60 to 70 of those trucks are going to be our own trucks that we're going to be making 3 times the money on. So we'll be at that stage where we can go to these, venture capital firms. These are people that's got billions of dollars. These companies have billions of dollars to invest. Okay, a venture capital firm because we got 200 million shares. Venture capital says, okay, I'll take 5 million of those shares for $25 million. Because remember, I told you these venture capitalist firms, they are going to spend, they pay more money for these shares. Because what they're doing, because that's part of an investment fund that they have. And we're not the only company that they're buying up shares in. They're buying up shares in other, fledgling companies that are up and coming and growing. Because they want to push all these companies to become to the IPO stage. That's where they're going to make billions and, the whole 9 yards. So they'll say, okay, we'll take 10 million shares for $20 million out of our 200 million shares, right? So where does that $20 million? That $20 million goes to where? Our company. That goes to our company. It goes in, it becomes part of our revenue, becomes part of our company. So we just got a $20 million influx from one venture capitalist who bought 10 million shares. Another commercial. All right, so we just got a $20 million influx of capital from a company, from a venture capitalist firm, right? That says, okay, we'll pay you $20 million for 10 million shares. Because that 10 million shares is going to make them billionaires. That $20 million that they invest is going to bring them over $1 billion. And I'm going to show you all how. It's the same way, your $6,200 for your 3,750,000 shares is going to make you over $700 million, close to $800 million. If not more. All right. So that's at that stage. In the Series B funding stage, companies that reach this stage are well established and seek to expand their market reach. Series B funding usually comes from venture capital firms. Then you get the Series C, that's even more money. Then you get the Series C. Series C funding and beyond, these funding rounds, Series C, D, and beyond, are typically larger as the company has a proven track record. These rounds may involve private equity firms, billions of dollars, investment banks, trillions of dollars. In some cases, hedge funds, hundreds of trillions of dollars. You're at a level now where you're at a level now where you're being groomed by these ungodly money hedge funds and people like that, because they see your company is thriving, they see your company is growing, you see your company is capturing a good share of the market share, and they want to push you to becoming a publicly traded company. Why? Because if they push you to becoming a public traded company, everybody from here on up who participated in any other funding round are going to become billionaires and millionaires to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. Even you at your little $6,250 investment. And this is how it happens. Once you get to this stage, right? Once you get to this stage, you are now at what you call the exit strategy. Okay? All right. In a Series C funding, these funding stages in Series C funding and beyond, as startups progress to Series C and further rounds, they are typically well established in their market. Series C funding supports additional scaling, developing new products, or purchasing other growth opportunities such as acquisition. So, like we're purchasing. We're getting into brokering real heavily. We're getting into, we may be getting into freight forwarding. We're definitely buying more and more assets. We're not only are we a leasing company, but we probably expand into becoming a full-fledged trucking company where we're doing leasing. We're doing, we're selling vehicles, the whole 9 yards by the time we hit that point. Okay, so that's what this type of funding is for. And these people are buying up these extra 100 million shares, and they're buying them at ungodly, no amounts of money. And all that money is being poured into our company to push us towards that area so we can become an IPO. Okay, and that is really the exit strategy. That's the exit strategy, because when you get to this stage right here, these rounds, the end goal of these funding rounds is often to prepare the company for an initial public offering. That's the IPO that we've been talking about, or an acquisition. Either we're going to go to an IPO or some big firm that's got, well over $1 billion. And say, look, instead of you going, because if we decide to go public, we're going to get offers from other big firms to buy us out. Okay? And if you're going to an IPO, you're not going to get an offer for less than $1 billion. You want a buyout. Nothing less than $1 billion on a buyout. And your 1 point, some odd percent turns into $100 million. Yeah. So you see what I'm saying? So, and if you go to an IPO, your 1.25% is going to make you 10 times that. You're going to get 10 times that. Because if you go to the IPO, right, here's what happens. At that point, the SEC comes in and they look at all our books. They look at all our earnings, our revenue. They look at our growth potential. They look at our GDP, the gross national product. They look at our expansion. They look at how many trucks we have. They look at our inventory. They look at how many employees we have. They look at how much real estate we own. They look at all that stuff. Okay, and then they give the company what's called their valuation, which means they're going to assess a value to the company, and they're going to set the value of the starting stock price for that company, the initial public offer. Now, when they come in and look at that, they may say the company is worth $700 million. They may say the company is worth $4 billion, or whatever the case may be. But they're going to set a stock price. They can come in and say, you know what, your stock for this company, your initial public offering is worth $188 per share. So, if they did that, what would your little $6,250 be worth to you if they did that? Because remember, you got 3,750,000 shares. That's what your little $6,250 has equated to after we create our first round of shares. Now, in that time, when we do go public, the SEC says now you can create more shares. Because remember, we sold all our initial shares in the series funding to all these, hedge funds and venture capitalists and, incubators and the accredited investors, and to you all, because you all got 300 million shares. The owners who got 300 million shares, you got your 3,750,000 shares. So what will your 3,750,000 shares be worth? They give us a value of $188 a share. So 3,700,000. What was it? 3,750,000. 3,718,000. Was that what it was? Yeah, that was it right there. So your shares would be worth $3,750,000. All right. So 3,750,000. There we go. 3,750,000 shares. That's your shares times $188 a share. Because they allow us to create more shares. So we can create another billion shares or 700 million shares or 1.2 billion or 2 billion shares. And those are the shares that are now going to be sold to the general public. Now, the SEC says the everyday average American hard-working person can now participate in buying shares now that we've created all these shares and created all this money and created all this value. Now the SEC says, okay, now we'll let the hard-working man buy some shares. When it's not really that affordable anymore. I know the game is rigged, but that's the game we all have to play. So hear me when I tell you, you either get in on the pre-seed funding stage or you get in on the IPO stage. But make no mistake about it, you ain't going to be able to buy too many shares at the IPO stage. But at that pre-seed funding stage, you can set yourself up to have millions of shares for pennies on the dollar. 3,750,000 shares for $6,250 versus buying them at the IPO stage at $180 a share. But your 3.7 million shares are now worth what? $705 million. So you see how your little $6,250 investment, not only is your net worth, you're worth $705,000 because you own 3.7 million shares of stock that's worth that's been evaluated and listed at $188 a share. You can sell all your shares and walk away with $705 million. Or you can sell half of them and keep the other half and still have a net worth of over $500 million. That's it. And on top of that, you've made money through the years from the revenue that the company's been making. 4, 9, 12, $20 million a year. You get your 1.25%, right? Contributing back 40%, you keeping 60% back into the company. See, people, this is how you become wealthy in your lifetime. You are not going to become wealthy in your lifetime by investing in an established company already. Amazon, Uber, Walmart, Coca-Cola. You are going to make your grandkids and your great-grandkids wealthy, but you ain't going to be wealthy. No. Because you can't make no money there. And the only opportunity you have to create this type of real generational wealth for yourself and for your heirs is to get in on a company before it becomes a company. All right. And right now, I have presented to you all Lease is that company. You see how we're different. You see how we're going to change the game. You see how we're going to be offering something that a lot of owner operators, guys out there who are either new to trucking or they've been driving for companies for a while. They don't have the credit, they don't have the resources to go into these lease purchase programs. They can come into an Lease for a year and make enough money because we just showed you with Lease on the average take home for a driver on Lease just running loads is paying $2 a quarter, per mile. Sorry about that. We have another ad. Just making $2 a quarter a mile. Running about 300 miles per week or whatever the case may be. Look at about $3,300 take home. That's after paying everything. Your easy lease payment, your insurance, your fuel, everything. You really doing about $7,500 to $7,800. But after your easy lease, weekly payment, your fuel, what you pay for your insurance, you don't have to worry about your maintenance because you have a maintenance plan. You don't have to worry about warranty because you have a warranty plan that's built into the lease, and stuff like that. So whatever other little fees you got, you're taking home $33.75. That times 52 weeks of the year, the average easy lease person is making over $175,000 a year. So they can run with easy lease for a year and then go out and buy their own truck. Hell, they can run with easy lease for a year and go out and buy 2 or 3 trucks, start their own trucking company. If that's what they wanted to do. The owners of the trucks who are listing their trucks with easy lease, the people who are listing their trucks with easy lease, they're earning on average $1,460 weekly. That's more than $74,000 per year for a truck that they don't have to pay insurance on. They have no liability in. All the thing they've got to do is make sure that truck can pass DOT inspection. That's it. I really think Easy Lease is that type of company that you can get in at the startup level and it takes you through the steps. Even if we don't get to the IPO stage, you're still making incredible money on the dividends that you're getting from the truck leases and the revenue from Easy Lease. The ultimate goal is to get to the IPO stage and cash out and make every last one of us, multi-billionaires and billionaires. If you're at the very low end, you're looking at over $700 million on an IPO once we get to that stage. Not to mention, a few 10, 12 million you made over the course of 3 to 5 years. This is how a person can become a billionaire or a multi-millionaire to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars in their lifetime. You're not going to do it by investing in these small things like Bitcoin and all this other. You're not going to do it like that. You're not going to do it by investing in Walmart. You're not going to do it by investing in Uber. You're not going to do it by investing in all these established companies. You have to get with a company before it becomes a company. Now, if you had invested in Uber before it became a company, oh yeah. If you had invested in Apple before it became a company, oh yeah. If you had invested in Amazon before it became a company, oh yeah. All billionaires. Lyft before it became a company, billionaires. But you have to be associated with people who are coming up with different startup companies and different startup ideas and business models, because that's what I do. Creating startups and business models is what got me out of the homeless shelter in 2008 and 2009. Y'all know my story. I was there 18 months, homeless. Started my first company from the homeless shelter. This is what got me to where I am now. Obviously, I'm no longer homeless, but this is what I do. I don't work a regular job. What I do is I come up with ways to start companies. That's what I do. Some of the ideas I sell to someone, but some of them I keep, like Easy Lease and like this other one that I come up with this real estate investing company. I'm keeping that one. But some of these companies that I have come up with companies, and I've sold, the ideas. If I come up with a quick idea for a company and I put it together and I put together a website so I can show people, how it works or whatever, I turn around and I sell it to them for around, $20,000 to $30,000. I sell them the idea. I'm not selling Easy Lease. I'm telling you that right now. So don't ask me. Don't come to me and say, hey, will you sell me the Easy Lease, right? The Easy Lease for 30? No. Because I know the potential of it. But what I will do is give you an opportunity to become part owner of Easy Lease. Again, here is what we're offering, what we're looking for with Easy Lease. Let me get back to my Easy Lease. Here is what we're looking for with Easy Lease. Let me get back to, no, hold on, my bad. I went to the wrong link. What we're looking for with Easy Lease, we're looking for $200,000. We're seeking $200,000 in pre-seed funding for 40% ownership of the company. This is the only stage. This is the only stage that we are allowed to make this offer to people that I know, people who are my social media friends, associates, family, or whatever. This is the only stage that I'm legally allowed to make this offer to anybody right now. So anybody who wants to, who has the ability to, can invest and become one of the owners of Easy Lease at this stage. Once we get that $200,000, you are no longer, we can't even take your money. The only time we can get back to presenting this to everyday ordinary people is when we get to the IPO stage. And at that stage, you can't afford to get more than 10, 15 shares, maybe 25 shares. And you're not going to make any money on it because it's already maxed out at the value. And it may go up a couple $100 every year or 2 or 3 years or whatever it may be. You ain't going to make no money. Your children will make money, or your great grandkids will make money if you hang on to it and pass it on to them, but you ain't going to make no money. The only way you're going to make money in anything like this is getting in on the pre-seed funding stage, which is where we're at right now. So we're seeking $200,000 for 40% in pre-seed funding for 40% ownership of the company, RBBS LLC Easy Lease. Okay, we're offering at stages. If one person comes up with $200,000, that one person has that 40%. If you come up, if person that comes up with $100,000, they own 20% of the company. $50,000 gets you 10% of the company. $25,000 gets you 5% of the company. $12,500 gets you 2.5% of the company, and $6,250 gets you 1.25% of the company. And we just base all our numbers on that 1.25%. In case y'all were wondering. So all those numbers you saw on the dividend stage, and as we're bringing in money for the funding and things like that, and selling those shares, all that was based on a person coming in at the 1.25%, $6,250. So there you have it. All right. If you want to talk to me directly about this, or if you want to get involved with Easy Lease as one of the owners, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, and I'm going to share some stuff in my link here. If you want to get involved, I'm sharing it. In the link. There it is right there. Okay. Interested parties should contact me, Calvin Butler. My phone number is 850-933-4632, or you can call me toll free at 866-973-6445, extension 1, or you can email me at calvinbutler@myeasylease.com. Okay. Look, everybody, I really believe that Easy Lease is that type of business model that can bring about a change in the status quo in the trucking lease genre or lease area of this industry. Okay. Easy Lease has answered all of the concerns that lease operators have, is to answer all the concerns that truck owners would have and how to make money with their truck outside of them driving their truck. It relieves the owners of the truck of that insurance, having to pay, the insurance $900 a year, $1,200 a year, whatever it costs. It relieves them of that. It relieves them of the liability, and they just sit back and collect money each week on their truck lease, that they have through Easy Lease. And I know that we would take a huge market share of the industry of guys who need to lease a truck, especially those guys that can't meet the seasoning requirements on their authority, or those people who are fresh out of truck driving school and they may have been driving a truck, for a company for only 3 or 4 months, whatever the case may be, but they feel like they got enough experience and they want to get their own authority, but they don't have the money to get their own truck. This is the perfect vehicle for them. So I would behoove you all, if you're taking a look at this later, if you're looking at it now, if you was on with us live, thank you for joining us live. If you're taking a look at this later on, take a close look at this, because this could be the Uber, this could be, the Lyft, this could be that next thing. Like, I missed out on bottled water. Oh my God, I could have been a billionaire right now, but I missed out on bottled water because I thought that, people would never pay for something that you can get for free. Back in 1989, when I was offered the opportunity to become one of the principal owners in Zephyr Hills water, Zephyr Hills bottled water. I had $46,000 in my bank account available to me, and $20,000 of that dollar could have got me 10 to 15 million shares. And I said, there's no way that's ever going to work. I was wrong. Zephyr Hills right now, matter of fact, let's look it up. What is Zephyr Hills trading for right now? Let's look it up. Let me share my screen. Because Zephyr Hills right now, I think it's trading for almost $300-400 a share. If I'm not mistaken. Zephyr Hills is trading for almost $300-400 a share. And I had an opportunity, almost 15 million shares for $20,000. But I said it would never work. I said it would never work. So let's see here. Zephyr Hills. What's that? ZE. Yeah, Zephyr Hills water stock price. Because I looked it up the other day. Look at that. Zephyr Hills, which is now Waters Corp. Okay. $357.97 a share. I could have had 15 million shares for $20,000. And I had $46,000 because I had just got in the military. I took early out and I got my bonus of $42,000, and I had about $3,000 already in the bank. So I had $46,000 in the bank. I could have invested $20,000 and gotten 15 million shares of Zephyr Hills bottled water, which is now Waters Corp. Now, if I had did that, but I was too smart for my own britches. I'm thinking ain't nobody gonna pay for no water. Water's free. I can go to anybody's house and say, knock on the door and sir, can I have a glass of water? And they give it to you free. I can go to any restaurant and say, can I have a glass of water? They'll give it to you free. I can go walk into any building and say, where's your water fountain? It's right over there. Go drink as much as you want for free. It was beyond me that these people were talking about selling bottled water in Florida. It's all the bottled water distribution center where they're going to be selling bottled water in all the grocery stores and all the fitness centers and all the gyms and everything. Everybody's going to high schools. Everybody's going to be buying bottled water. That's, man, y'all crazy. Yeah, they weren't crazy, but I was. Turns out I was the dumb one. Okay, because 15 million shares is what I could have had with my $20,000. And the stock price right now for Zephyr Hills is times $357.97. Yeah, I could have been a billionaire to the tune of $5 billion. So you can imagine every time I think about Zephyr Hills, I get a little sick feeling down in the pit of my stomach because I literally had a bona fide opportunity stare me. It was presented to me just like I'm presenting to you all tonight. I had a bona fide opportunity presented to me at the Sheraton Hotel in San Antonio, Texas, by the three brothers and two other people of Zephyr Hills, the brothers that started Zephyr Hills. Me, along with 200 other people, I convinced about 100 of those people that this was a stupid idea, and they all walked out with me. You can imagine if those people that walked out with me after I convinced them that this was a stupid idea, you can imagine what they would do to me right now. and I couldn't blame them because I literally had an opportunity to get 15 million freaking shares for $20,000 investment. That right there, that was in 1989. And about 4 years later, 3 years later, I was in Florida. I came back to Florida, and I went to an Albertson, and all I saw on 2 rows of shelves in Albertson was Zephyr Hills, bottled water. And I'm not gonna lie to you. When I saw that, walking back to my car, I threw up. This is a true, honest to God story. Walking back to my car, I got sick to my stomach and I threw up because I knew what I had missed out on. And if I had got that, I'd be worth $5 billion right now. Not 5 million, not 500 million, $5 billion. So believe me when I tell you, the opportunity to become a billionaire in your lifetime exists, but it only exists in you investing in the startup phase of a company before a company becomes a company. You have to be able to see a vision or someone's vision, someone's idea, someone's concept, and you have to be able to see it and see how it can make a change and see how it will grow. And then you have to take action and step in and do it. But there's not very many people that I would imagine that who goes around creating stuff like this. So, that's the reason why I started learning how all this works and how to create business models myself. Because I found out by creating business models, I can make money by selling business models that I created. That's what got me out of the shelter. That's what got me to where I am now. That's what caused me not to have to work a job in the last 15 years and still make good money. But there are some business models that I will not sell, like this one. And the other one that I'm going to be presenting probably about a week or two from now, there's another one that I put together that I want to hang on to also too. And that has to do with real estate though. But this by far, in my opinion, has the most potential to be a game changer. Like an Uber, like a Lyft, like an Instacart, like a Turo. This is literally the commercial version of Turo. In case y'all know what Turo is, let me show you what Turo is. This is literally the commercial version of Turo. Turo car rental. This is the commercial version of Turo. This is Turo. Turo is where everyday ordinary people can list their cars onto their app or website. And, Tallahassee. But it's pulling up the cars here in Tallahassee. You see here? Where everyday ordinary people can list their cars, just like an Uber, they can list their cars, and people can come and rent them. Like here, I'm pulling up the Turo cars in Tallahassee, $67 a day, $68 a day, $68 a day. This is easy lease is literally the commercial vehicle version of Turo. And this is why we need that $200,000 so we can build an app, so we can have an app created like this and have it to be able to, with the functionality and the type of stuff that they have here. You see what I'm saying? Skip the rental car counter. See, and our website is not, bad, but I want it to be, great. So this is why we need the $200,000 to be able to do the additions to the website, build the app, do the marketing, do the social media marketing, do the mainstream marketing, reach out and start getting start getting the truck owners and the trucking companies that have this extra surplus of inventory that they're not doing anything with, get them to start posting it to our site and our app, and we start getting people in those trucks and leasing them out. And after that, it's all down here from there. But that's what this is. All right, look, everybody, I really thank y'all for joining us. I thank you all. I put my information up there for you all to contact me if you want to contact me about getting involved with Easy Lease. Contact me, Calvin Butler, at 850-933-4632 or at 866-973-6445 extension 1. Or you can email me at calvinbutler@myeasylease.com. I thank you all so very much. I appreciate y'all spending this 2 hours and 11 minutes with me. Thank you. And I look forward to hearing from you all. And go back to Easy Lease, myeasylease.com, and check it out. Kind of, do a review of it. Do your due diligence. Because look, I'm gonna raise the $200,000, and whether you become a part of it or not, it's gonna move forward. I'm gonna raise the $200,000. I mean, if I gotta, refinance my house, I will. But I'm gonna raise the $200,000, and I'd like to have some of you to come along with me. I really would, because running a business by yourself is kind of stressful, and I like having I like being beholden to people on keeping me true and keeping me on my toes and making sure I'm doing what I need to do to push this business forward. Because there are times when you're doing stuff by yourself and you could get lazy and say, I'm just going to kind of lax off today. But if I got people like other owners who are depending on me to make this work, you can rest assured I'm going to be at it at least 10, 12 hours a day, every single day, until we get to that point. Okay. But thank you all. I appreciate you all. Thank you, Mr. Edwards, for joining us. I see you stuck with us live here on the YouTube channel. Thank you. I appreciate it. We have about 3 other people who have tuned in, and we thank you on YouTube. And hopefully, some other people will see this on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and some other places that I'm going to put it out at. But yeah, look, Easy Lease. If you want an opportunity, I've just shown you a great opportunity. All right. Good night, everybody.